For those that don't know me, I'm Patrick Nagel. My call sign is N4GLE. Member of the Shoals Amateur Radio Club, also the emergency coordinator down in Franklin County. Tonight we're going to be talking about the introductory basics to DMR. As many of you know, we've got a new DMR repeater here in Sheffield, and found out that there's been an interest, and some of you still kind of learning and wanting to know more. So we're going to kind of give you a little brief overview of DMR, kind of brief history of the difference in audio quality, spectrum efficiency. DMR is a local network, also can be a worldwide network with an internet backbone. And basically telling a little bit more about the ins and outs. DMR was developed in Europe by ATSI as the standard pretty much for the digital 20 years ago. Initially, commercial business equipment was the only source of DMR handhelds and mobiles. Although their quality, durability, and software was unsurpassed, it comes at a high price. And many of you may know, if you ever have went and priced Motorola or Hytera DMR equipment, that's pretty much the gold standard for DMR. Those are pretty expensive radios. And then in 2016, several vendors entered the ham radio DMR market. They're a bit more affordable and vary in quality and features. Those would be like the TYT, the Anytone, and so on and so forth. And the main thing is digital versus analog. Digital on DMR operates on a full open squelch, so you will actually get a better signal off of that. You know, it will drop out after a analog signal will drop out, so you'll lose the analog before you lose the digital. On your spectrum efficiency, you have a 4-to-1 efficiency. A DMR radio actually keys and unkeys every 30 milliseconds. And what that does, it allows for 2 time slots. And it occupies half the spectrum. You only have 12.5 kilohertz of bandwidth on a DMR frequency. Each time slot shares 6.5 or 6.25 kilohertz of that bandwidth. And the repeater will interweave the incoming signals based on the time slot. So you have 2 operators on time slot 1, 2 operators on time slot 2. You can actually carry on 2 conversations on that repeater at the same time. And basically, John describes the time slots like a duplex house. They're the same thing on both sides, 2 families, 1 structure. And each time slot has its own set of talk groups as well, and we'll get on that here in a moment. Right now there are about 1,500 talk groups ranging from local repeater to repeater networks, statewide groups, regional groups, country specific groups, worldwide groups, and specialty groups. Some of these specialty groups will include public safety, outdoor adventure, JOTA, MCOM, and other niche groups. I didn't get a chance to change this here, but not all repeaters will carry the same talk groups depending on where they're at, their network connection. So here at Sheffield, and I'll show you that kind of. We have our own set of talk groups for the Sheffield repeater. If I can get it pulled back up. Phone lost connection. But here at the Sheffield repeater, we have local 2. Or we use local 2 on time slot 2. TAC 310, 311, we use those on time slot 1. Nationwide is on time slot 1. And all of our statewide all our statewide network talk groups are on time slot 2, as well as our local talk groups. And there's a difference between talk groups as well, full-time and part-time talk groups. A full-time talk group, such as the Northwest Alabama talk group on time slot 2, stays active all the time. That way, say if Petey is at home on his hotspot and Daryl is here in town, he can talk to Daryl through the repeater and go link back through Petey's hotspot at home and still be able to link to the repeater. And that traffic goes through all the time. The push-to-talk talk groups are part-time talk groups. They're dynamically activated, as Brandmeister calls them. Those talk groups, once you key them up, they will only be active for 10 minutes after the last transmission of RF through the repeater. And this goes back to the sample repeater. And here's basically what the repeater looks like. This is the repeater that we have at Sheffield. A lot of these repeaters use a C-bridge. I'm not too familiar with that, so I'm going to kind of skip over it. What we use is the Brandmeister network. Brandmeister network has a series of master servers that are all intermeshed together. Once you go in there, you set up the repeater, tell it what IP address you want it to link to. It links to that master server, and then we've got an internet connection or network connection through the Brandmeister servers. And
so the Brandmeisters is what provides you a talk group 1, right?
Well, talk group 9, and like your Alabama statewide groups, all those.
I'm sorry, the full-time part, full-time.
Yeah, the full-time and the part-time. Any of those talk groups, or all of our talk groups on the repeater connected to Brandmeister.
Okay.
Is the local connected to Brandmeister?
No, all of your local talk groups are connected just to the repeater.
Right. Okay.
So like the local 9 doesn't go over the internet, it stays here locally. Those don't get transmitted over the internet. And push to talk, analog versus digital, because the number of talk groups that are assigned, it's very possible that someone might be using a talk group other than the one you're listening to. So when you do this, make sure that when you cue the radio up, the radio will give you a tone back to let you know that it's clear. So when you have that, just I'm trying to think, my mind is. Yeah, when the PT is pressed, the signal sent to the repeater, which checks to see if the time slot is available. If it is, a data stream will be sent back to the radio, giving you the all clear, sometimes generating a beep tone. This will occur in just under a second. So when you press the PTT, wait a couple seconds before talking. This will give the radio enough time to digitize and be able to key up the repeater and start your transmission. So the two main networks that are used when you hear about DMR is DMR Mark and the other is Brandmeister. The DMR Mark network was developed many years ago by the Motorola Amateur Radio Club and has served as the benchmark. Back when I first got into DMR, you actually went to DMR Mark to get your